Okay, so good evening. Wednesday evening we normally is designed for the beginners. So in that case, normally there will be a small guidance or the talk in relation to what is meditation and how do we practice meditation here at the center, and how does it help in our day-to-day life. The rest of other days, like Tuesdays and Fridays and Sundays, will be different. And particularly on a Tuesday will be more of intensive long sittings, and on a Friday we have a studying on the scriptures, and a Sunday, Saturday and Sundays, again anybody can turn up and then practice, which is in the weekends in the morning time. Saturday 9:30 and the Sunday 10 o'clock, like that. So this is how we practice here. And I presume you know what is meditation is. So meditation that we practice here to cultivate good things in our heart and minds. And this cultivation begins with the knowing, understanding what it is and what's happening within ourselves. When we are practicing, then we gradually will know our hearts and minds, and particularly the mind, because our mind in general divide into two. One goes into the negative side, and the second goes into the positive sides. So either of these sides, whenever we pay attention to, put more effort onto that side, and it will take some more energies away from us. And as a result, if that's put it into the negative side more, then we lose our energy more, we feel stressed, we feel down, tired, sort of things. And also we create negativities towards ourselves. Why me? Despite of me working so much, what happened to me? Like that. And in the same time we extend that negativity towards the others. Because of that person, because of this person, maybe this is the curse and that is the curse, So we try to begin to doubt and create new stories, and then try to give all the problems as a cause from someone else. And goes on with like that, and generates more miseries. In the same time, if you put more energies towards the positive thought, then we more like rejecting the negative sides, only accepting the positive. We become a more imprisoning ourselves within that context. So, and we become a more greedy, more illusionist, living in an illusion. So the practice of meditation in a Buddhist meditation is to understand these two minds and put it into the balance. Neither of these is helpful for us. Both we need it, but in the same time we have to learn how it is generating. So basically knowing the cause that is creating to the negative or the positive. So that is called the desire. And knowing that desire helps us to releasing that desire away. So the cultivation of the mind is to release that desire slowly, one after another, one after another, one after another. And the very moment when we realize that desire completely, that moment we do not have to let it go. It just happens. Let it go just happens because we realize it, just like going to the toilet. We will go to the toilet because we feel that we need it. When we need it, and then we go it. If when we need it but we are not going, it causes a problem, creates the problem, suffering, tension in our body. And then once we go into the toilet, releasing, it happens because we just allow it to happen. And then the same thing happened with our mind. First thing we have to know. And to know it, we have to slow ourselves down, stopping here and now in this very present moment. And not only the body is staying here, but also the mind, which normally never stays here, always want to jump one place to another, and then always want to have something. And then once we got that, again this mind will not satisfy with that and want to have another, constantly needing, constantly wanting one after another, and which causes more trouble. So that's why the practice of meditation is to see that, knowing this mind. And once we know this mind, then it will come to the present moment. It combines the body and the mind together, here and now. Because the body never will be in the past, and never will be in the future. Body always here. So, we are here because of the past. And then the future will be because of the present. As we move, the future generates. Future will come from here. So it is up to us which way we want to go. Whether we want to go to the right or the left. So again, that's begin from here with this body. So the practice of meditation is to begin from here, and everything will start in the next. So that's the practice. That's how we practice, why we need to practice. And the technique that we practice, as you may know, there are many kinds of techniques of doing a meditation, but very famous one will be the paying attention to the breath, knowing the breath in and out. And how do we know that? So when air goes in, knowing the breathing in. When air comes out, knowing the breathing out. And that's a very simple way to say. And another one we can say is when breath in, full, and the stomach will rise, and knowing the rising. And when the breath out, the stomach will fold, knowing the falling out. And whichever you feel comfortable between this breath in and out at the nostrils, or the abdomen rising and falling, or the chest rising and falling, we can use it as a place to pay attention to. A place where we establish our mind, keeping in this present moment with the help of these things. And it is called the anchor, a place we are anchoring our mind at the beginning. But once we become familiar with it, and that's become a home base. We can come back at any time, any moment, because our mind will not stay in one place for a long time at the beginning. But once we practice long time, then the mind will stay. So we use this as a place to anchor our mind. And when we are paying attention to, at the first time or beginning time, we may have to force ourselves to pay attention to. And some other times, once we get used to with this, then we do not have to force it. Right? Just settling down on that object, which we call it primary object of concentration. Primary object of concentration. So that is the main object where we will pay attention to. The reason why we are paying attention to on that is just to calm our mind, uniting the mind which is scattered all around. It's scattered all around because of the conditioning things, because of the work that we are doing, because of the family business that we are in, because of the children, friends, and a household and these things. We are always conditioned with these items and the situation, and as a result our mind always is scattered. Because of that scattered mind, we lose our control, we lose our energy. So the paying attention to in this one object, what happens will be all this mind which always constantly thinking one after another comes into the one place, become a one. When it become a one, and that again connects the body. Okay, the very moment it connects, and that moment we have to release, and that releasing happens through the opening our senses, not accepting nor rejecting. Okay? Not accepting things that is happening and not rejecting, just knowing as it is. That mind observing the breath in and out, not defining that this breath is how it is, what it is, not like that. Just breath, that's it. In and out, that's it, finished. Same thing with the ear, the sound that we hear, just the sound, not the sound of this and sound of that. Smell that we smell is not anybody else, nothing, just the smell. So we'll stop there. That's because we're allowing it to happen. And although we allow it to happen, we know it, and once we have known it completely, it just drops. Mind will try to find somewhere else. But sometimes it is very difficult to find something else to pay attention to. And that moment, if our mind is familiar with the anchor, then it just comes back to the anchor, a place like the breath or the abdomen, whichever you feel comfortable to use that as a primary object. Then mind automatically will just comes back to the home base. That moment it's become a home base. So it has transformed from the anchor to the home base. And while we are watching this home base, while we are staying in this home base, anything happens, like the sound that we hear, smell that we get, or the heat that changes the body temperature, then we know it. And even the thoughts comes, we know that thoughts. And then when we know the thought, we just know it, no engagement. I like it, I don't like it, no. Just knowing that thought. And then once we know it, recognizing it, and it just drops. By the time when we recognize it, rather than stimulating, forming, that just drops. And then that moment again comes back to the primary object, or the home base. Otherwise, sometimes it just goes off to the somewhere, the more gross level of sensation that happens, it goes there. So that's why the practice here is simply first relaxing the body, bringing the mind back to the present moment, here and now, and then choosing the primary object. And this choosing the primary object is once we relax the body, fully relax, and that moment try to pay attention to the body, and that moment we see what's happening in the body. And then this movement which is taking place naturally, no matter whether we recognize it or not. It's happening all the time. The breath in and out happening all the time, rising, falling happening all the time, whether we notice it or not. But once body fully relaxed, our mind is fully concentrated, connected with the body, and that moment we can feel it, we can sense it. The very moment when we sense it and we feel comfortable, either the breath or the abdomen, take it as the object, and then we're paying attention to on that. And through that, and then gradually mind become settled down, and then we will be able to see the qualities of the mind, functioning of the mind, formation of the mind, and how it creates. And then once we know it, then gradually we will be able to stop letting go, stop letting go, stop letting go, or the pausing in there, and then start letting go. And that's how we will get into the practice. And when we get the result of this practice, there is no quick fix. And particularly in meditation, there is no quick fix at all. We cannot see the benefit immediately. We may see some calmness sometimes in the practice, during the practice. We may see our mind become a little bit of a quieter and quieter in sometimes. But the true benefit of it, we will see over the period of practice. Continuous practice. Once we continue practicing, then over the period of time, maybe a month or 2 months time, then we can feel the effect of the meditation. But if we are looking for the immediate result, then we are failed from the beginning. Okay? We failed from the beginning. Because our habit pattern is designed, the very moment from the birth until now, is to desire, constantly changing, constantly one after another chasing. And then now, after 30, 40 years later, we want to have a peaceful mind. Immediately switch off the engine, then it will be disaster. So that's why when we meditate, it is difficult to calm it down, because our habit pattern being like that. So because of that, we cannot get the result immediately. Sometimes we get few trance, like a peaceful mind, calm mind, contemplated, and feeling like such a wonderful moment, relief, stressless, those things we will have, but it won't last long. But if we want to have a result for a long life, long time, we have to keep practicing slowly and slowly. It doesn't matter how long we practice, just remember to practice. So that's why meditation is not important, but remembering to meditate is important. And every moment, every time we are meditating, and this we can take it into our daily life as well. And more we practice in our daily life, being mindful of our action, and then the result will come slowly and slowly. We become more conscious, we become more mindful, we become more tolerant, we become more conscious about somebody's action, reaction. We are contented, contemplated. We become our own self, and through that we will be able to live happily, peacefully, and enjoying the moment that we have, enjoying the people that are around us. We will be able to enjoy with them, and we are with them. That's how it begins to get peaceful and happy within ourselves. Okay? So this is how we do. So, rather than me talking, let's do the practice.